Now that we've learned how to create and run migrations, I'd like us to create the migrations that we're going to be using for our simple content management system. First, I should give you an idea of what I have in mind for it. Here's sort of a sample layout of what I think a page might look like. We have a navigation over on the left that shows all the available pages grouped by their subject. We can click on any one of those, and that will then take us to that page. If we're on that page, then we'll see the content of the page over on the right, and each page will be made up of several different sections. So in my example here, we're looking at page 3, and we see the 3 sections of content that are on page 3. So the hierarchy is that there's a subject with pages below it and sections below that. Another way to diagram that would be something like this. A subject has several pages, and then a page has several sections below it. This concept of having many pages that belong to a subject is very common with relational databases, and we call it a one-to-many relationship. In order to pull that off, what we're going to need in our migration file is a foreign key for page that will help it to know which subject it belongs to. And we talked a little bit about foreign keys earlier. So a page will need a subject ID field so that we can tell it what subject it belongs to, and a section will need a page ID field so we'll know what page is its parent page. And both subject ID and page ID will simply be integer fields. So I'd like you to do this migration as a do-it-yourself assignment. I'm going to give you some parameters, but I want you to look back at the old movies if you need to for reference and try and get it to work all on your own. Now, there's going to be 3 main steps you're going to follow. First, you're going to generate the models. That's going to be subject, page, and section. Now, when we generate the models, we get the migration file included. Now, you'll remember that when you generate a model file, you get a migration file at the same time. And the next step will then be to fill out that migration file, to write your migration. Let's take a look at what some of the columns would be. For subjects, we're going to have name, position, and visible. So the name will just be the name that's going to appear in the navigation. Position will let us know where it should appear. We want to be able to resort these into a different order, so we'll have the position as an integer. And then visible will allow us to turn it on and off. We might have a subject that's visible, and if we say, oh, you know what, let's take that subject away, we could click it to invisible, and then suddenly it would disappear off the front end of our website. Same thing with pages. We'll have name, position, and visible, but we'll also have permalink. My idea with permalink is that we would be able to use that permalink in the URL to refer to the page. So for example, we could say mywebsite.com/show, and then the permalink might be history or about us. It would be something besides the ID. We don't want to just say ID number 5. We want something that's a little more user-friendly there. So that's what the permalink's going to do. And then we're going to have the sections of each page. The name, position, and visible, and then we'll also have the content type. What kind of content are we going to put on this section? And then the content itself. And that would be in a text column. Don't forget that you'll need to add foreign keys to those based on the relationships that we just talked about. Subject ID and page ID will need to go in there. And you'll also need to add indexes. I'll give you a small hint here, which is to say that if I were doing this, I would put in 3 indexes, and none of those 3 would be on the subjects table. The other 3 would just be on the pages and sections table. So see if you can make that work. And the last step is going to be to run your migrations. You'll want to run the up method to migrate up to try out your migration. Make sure you also go down. So I would go all the way down, just make sure that things work smoothly, and then try moving around between different versions, just to make sure you get a feel for that. And when you're done, just make sure that you migrate all the way back up so that your database is in the same place as mine. So try that on your own, and then I'll show you my solution in the next movie.